believer in diversity and inclusion of people. I believe that as long as we manage to integrate all these kinds of people in our society in sports, then sports is one of the keys, one of the tools to integrate those people and help these people to get out if it's from a bad situation financially, or if they're mentally in a bad condition, or if they are special needs kids who just need a little push to integrate the society normally and work with normal, I would say, it's not really normal. We are not.
Hi everyone, welcome back to the Sporting Global podcast, and today I'm here with Itamar all the way from hot Valencia. How are you and how's Valencia?
Hey Ale, thank you very much for having me. Enjoying the sun, mid-December already, and it's sunny over here in Valencia, a very lovely city. So I'm having a good time.
I can't imagine. I mean, like as winter in Norway right now, like I'm tempted to kind of like switch seats with you right now. Get that 25 degrees, and then you can get a little bit 4 degrees like minus and like some cold winter. What do you say?
I think you have been invited more than once to come visit us, and it's already on. It's planned.
Yeah.
So.
No, we will be there, in March 2022. So it's gonna be a lot of fun. But anyways, Itamar, of course, like we're here to talk a little bit about you, about your background, but also a little bit about some of the new programs that are happening, with ESBS and by AMOS in that sense too. But I wanted to just, if you could just lay out a little bit of like how your journey in the sport industry began, like just take us through, your story here.
Definitely. Well, my mother has always told me that already when I was in her womb, I was already kicking a ball and I was already into football, and she could already feel it. So very early, when I was 4 or 5, I already started. Well, my family is coming from a very sporty background. My dad was playing tennis and boxing when he was younger back in France. My mother was a gymnast, and she was a rhythmic gymnastics when she was younger. So I have this background in the family, and I always been into sports, and being my dad always pushed me to do some sports. So very early, 4 or 5 years old, I started to play for a grassroots program back in the city where I live, a small town in the suburbs of Jerusalem. This grassroots programs was connected to also Beitar Jerusalem, which is the main football team in Jerusalem area, and later Hapoel Jerusalem, which is also the second team in Jerusalem in terms of size and academies and all. I also continued during the years competing in athletic competitions when I was in school, as a youngster of 8, 10, 9, 10, for long jump, high jump, and also short runnings, like 60 meters, 80, 100 meters, 1 kilometer, 200. It was varied. I played also basketball at the age of 15. And I think I've tried almost every sports possible during the years, while my biggest love was always the football, and I was training 5 times a week back in my town, and trying my luck obviously in the professional clubs. When I was 17, I was offered to join Hapoel Jerusalem senior team under a contract. Unfortunately, just before I got injured in my ACL, torn my meniscus. And the doctor told me I have to stop playing football and training at least for 1.5 years. In Israel, it's pretty complicated, because if you're not playing actively before joining the mandatory service when you reach the 18, so in Israel, I don't know if anyone is aware, so it's mandatory for men's and women's to serve the country for 3 years. When you are not an active player at least a year or 2 before, then there's a quota of excelled players, and you're not entering this quota, then you need to join a normal base, and sometimes even not going out during the week. So obviously continuing in sports is almost impossible.
Right.
just before like entering the army, I had one friend which is a little bit older than me, and he's specialized in education of special needs kids in football, through football. He's a PhD in this subject. He told me, well, Itamar, I know you've been a very good football player. You have 6 months now at home recovering from your injury. I need some help opening a new program of special needs, coaching special needs kids in football in order to build their confidence, in order to help them integrate. And that was more my professional start as a worker, as a professional in the world of sports, with a little bit, of course, a gap of 3 years when I was in the army. I didn't work in it. But obviously doing lots of sports activities as part of our training. And afterwards,
for sure.
What is it?
Staying fit,
Staying fit, staying always on point,
Right.
Technically, after the army, he approached me again and told me, well, last time you worked with me in this special needs program that is now a very successful, the most successful one actually in Israel for special needs education through sports. It's called Derech HaSport, or the way of sport in Israel. I joined him also in the grassroots team, the regular team for regular or kids who doesn't have these difficulties, of course. And I became a football coach, coaching teams in the regional leagues and around Jerusalem, competing with all the big clubs. I was the under 13 and under 11 coach and managed also the grassroots program of 150 kids. It was all during my first studies, my first degree, while I was also doing the UEFA B coaching certificate at the same time. So I'm today a UEFA B instructor, football instructor holder certificate of the certificate. And well, I think this is a quite brief explanation about how did I manage to enter the world of sports and how did it all started.
It all starts with kicking the ball early, right?
Yes, already in the womb, like I said.
I think there's a lot of moms there out there that can say that. I think my mom said the same. So I mean, like it's all part of that journey of like just being part of like community, and I think it was very interesting for me as well, just hearing like just you trying all these different kind of sports, right? And also even like after you had your injury of like being able to give back to the community. And I think that must have been quite a fruitful experience for you, just getting close to that and working with special needs, of course, as well. Like it's a very important aspect of and you just kind of like get an essence as well of how important sports can be for every person out there. And I think that's a very key lesson for people to get that different kind of viewpoints in their build up for their professional sports career, whether that's you want to work for a professional team maybe someday, like get to see how it is grassroots. I think that's a very something that every person out there should do, to be fair.
Well, I'm a big believer in diversity and inclusion of people. I believe that as long as we manage to integrate all these kinds of people in our society in sports, then sports is one of the keys, one of the tools to integrate those people and help these people to get out if it's from a bad situation financially, or if they're mentally in a bad condition, or if they are special needs kids who just need a little push to integrate the society normally and work with normal, I would say, it's not really normal. We are not, no one is normal, but yeah.
No, I totally get that. And I mean, like, just having that experience as well is just, something that helps you build, your character and identity as well, and I wanted to touch a little bit upon like, obviously for the last 5 years, you've been living in 5 different countries, which is, probably a record of some sort. I think at least for a podcast guest, that must be like a record, so far at least. So what kind? I guess like just living in this 5 different countries in 5 years. What key lessons have you learned about people on one side, and then culture, and I guess in a sense the importance of sports and education? And you were talking a little bit upon that in terms of the special needs and like the diversity. But what is like the 5 last years taught you about this?
So, well, coming back or jumping back on my answer before, just before, like I said, diversity is a very important aspect for me in this world. Living in those different 5 countries, which has 5 different culture, Australia, Spain, France, Israel, and the UK, have taught me a lot about different cultures, different people, their habits, their way of living. And I think it's very important to always respect those cultures, always put in front of you and remember that people are coming from a different background, and doesn't matter what they have gone or undergone in their life. I think that during our life, we have many events that are influencing us as a person. And when I was there, I think that all those events together made me the person that I am, accepting more, wanting at least to be, accepting the people, being open to new ideas, never ignore or cancel any opinion, listen to the people, and learning from different experts, different cultures of work. Each of them have their strengths, their pros, their cons. Obviously, learning and taking from each of those cultures their strengths. At the end, I will have a whole set of bag of tools that will allow me to, with the mass communication of the world and this globalization that everyone is always around, and we are traveling so easily, meeting so many people, working with, I'm working with you and Eduardo, one in Norway, one from Brazil, right? Brazil, Eduardo, Caleb, which is from Brazil, all our people that are around us. This is forming a new world, a new way of living, and the most important is to respect each other, to understand that we are coming from a different background, and to learn from each other. Because in our conversation prior to the podcast, like you said, we always learn from each other and we gain experience from each other. So I think this is the most important. Be an observer, look at what people are doing. And this is also something that I've tried to do always in my life. Before I'm entering and, being the big voice who's shouting and speaking out loud and trying to be the proactive in the room. First of all, observe, understand where you are, what are the kind of people around you. And yeah, I think that's me.
Hey, that's a good advice. We just wrap up the podcast with that, and we don't need any more advice at this point. No, but it's a really good. I think it's a really good essence, and as well, as you were talking about, it's just having that observant role, especially when entering all these new kind of countries, cultures, aspects. It's about understanding how it is being in that position. And I say this a lot too. It's just as you were talking about, really respecting people's culture and trying to adapt. It's like I got it. Like, I mean, like, I only been living in the US, but like even just going there, right, it's very different from Norway. And I said, like, I have to learn how they are doing it, right, and respect the culture that is here, and follow kind of like the norm, right? And same goes, like, I expect when people come to Norway that they respect our norms and our culture, and we kind of like try to make things work in the best possible way. And with business as well, talking and working with different kind of countries and organizations from all over the world, you have to respect their culture and trying to find ways to make things work. And at the end of the day, it's then like be open to learning, like with knowledge, understanding, and work on communication, because at the end of the day, it's like, okay, we need to be able to communicate in order to make things work. So it's a very key point you're bringing up here.
I think that if we summarize it for 2 words, at least for me, it's interpersonal and intercultural communication, for both. Interpersonal, respect the people for who they are. Intercultural, respect the people for their background. Remember, we are all coming from a different background, and I will wrap it up with this because I think it's already pretty clear, the idea.
Yeah, no. And I wanted to it's time to dive a little bit more into, like, the programs, the new things that are happening, with your current, role and everything. But I wanted, if you could share a little bit about the Global Sport Business Program by AMOS. Like, first of all, like, what is this program all about, and where can potential students, get this certificate?
Yes, so the Global Sports Business Master is a program that has been created from the industry. Technically, this program has been designed to suit all the needs that the industry has now, the sports industry has now, and for our student to develop like a very in-depth expertise of the industry, of all the aspects of the industry, internationally and globally. And this is why the global is the first word of the program. The Global Sport Business Master is already existing since 2016 at AMOS campuses. It started as the format was only for French students, but in English at the beginning, slowly trying to recruit more international students.
Yep.
And now expanding, going to we have the campus in the UK, and the campus now that has been acquired here in Spain, ESBS by AMOS, which is our new brand name in our AMOS Sports Business Schools group, which is very exciting for us, obviously. And this is also one of the reasons that I think they choose me to do this, because now we are working on recruiting international people. With my experience in traveling and living in different countries, I think that I don't want to speak a lot about myself too much, but
Right.
I have this approach to international student, and the Global Sport Business Master. If you focus on the central part of it, it's a very practical master. Okay, we are speaking about working in the industry and being always on point, and that's why also Barbara Duarte, which is the PhD in sports and education, and she's working on the commercialization of this program. She's the manager of the international department at AMOS. She's always looking for new ways to adapt our program to the fast-changing industry, the fast-changing sports sector that is always changing, innovating in the last years with the digital transformation that the world is going through. This program is an international program. We cover 3 different continents also. I mean, every semester is focused on a different continent, starting from European one, then the Asian one, and then the American, the Anglo-Saxon market. Starting in Europe, as part of the GSBM, the students are taking part in the biggest sports retail conference salon in the world, which is called ISPO, and it's happening in Germany, in Munich, for 5 days, where they meet tens of thousands of professionals from the sports industry, different brands, networking with them, asking them how come this marketing strategy is going to be implemented this way, and teaching them all of the aspects of sports retail as well. They're also, of course, during the semester acquiring all the knowledge about the European industry. As part of the second semester, so we're rotating to Asia. How much China especially is influencing. China, India, or South Korea, Japan are influencing the sports industry in terms of innovation into sports tech, and all of those. So we are focusing a lot on this. We have a 1-month seminar in China, which is part of the program as well, where they're going to conferences with experts from the industry. They are visiting in different sports sites, different sports venues, sports companies, speaking with people. They have lecturers who are specified for this market. They're learning some Chinese. They're learning Chinese culture to be on point on the cultural aspect, like we initiated this interview speaking about cultural differences and all. So the same for the United States. They have a 1 month in the United States taking part in the organization of one of the marathons of Chicago, which is a main city in the United States for organizing these kinds of events. They will be there visiting the Chicago Bulls, the mentoring program with professionals from the WNBA and others. I believe I told you before, I am an alumni of this program. I've been there, I've done that. I can tell you this is the practical approach, the way AMOS is tailored this program, and now ESBS is also taking the AMOS program. There's a reason those two brands has connected. We have a similar approach of practicality, international innovation. Those are the key points about the Global Sports Business Master. As part of the Global Sports Business Master, they will be able to travel during their second year to 47 different universities across the world that we are partnered with, doing a full semester with them, and acquiring 2 different certificates, one from us, one from another university. It's a very flexible in terms of internationalization. This program is flexible, allowing the students to go and soak from different cultures and try to understand how to work in different countries. And I think this is the summarize or the most important things to know about the Global Sport Business Master that we offer now. Also at AMOS, as well as the same as ESBS, of course.
Well, it's good to see it's branching out and giving more students an opportunity to as you were saying as well, just having that practical approach to the industry, getting experience, getting to be physically at these locations as well, and meeting people. Right at the end of the day, it's just getting hands-on with culture, with experience, with networking, and yeah, it sounds like a really great program for those that are looking for the next step out there. You're also going to offer the Junior Master in Digital Transformation of Sport Entities by Global Sports Innovation Center. And what can, I guess, potential new students gain from this program and experience? Like what is the sort of like the key focus, I guess, in a sense of this Junior Master?
That's interesting because this is a new entry. This is something that we've added lately to the program, and this is thanks to the partnership of ESBS with the GSIC, which is allowing us now to integrate this in the Global Sport Business Master. The Junior Master in Digital Transformation of Sports Entities by the GSIC is a master that is allowing the student to learn from the experts of Microsoft about data analytics, VR, AR, Python, CRMs, and different aspects that, if you look at the industry 5 or 10 years ago, we were not speaking about that much. I think that the biggest event that has started to explain to people how important this data is when Trent Alexander-Arnold made an assist on the half final of the Champions League, which was afterwards told on the press that it was the data analytics, letting him know that Barcelona takes time to get reorganized for corners. So it takes 7 seconds. It's coming from data. And I mean, this is something that is very new. The students, when they will be part, when they will acquire all those new tools that are part of the industry today, that will offer them the opportunity, like I said at the beginning, to be on point and to integrate the industry the fastest. I mean, what's better to have a student who will finish the industry and then the companies will be just choosing out of their CV, or the company will say, okay, this guy has a specialized CV, which is what we are looking for, or the way we are looking on changing our company, and obviously it will be an easy choice for the company to take this kind of profile later into their company, of course.
Yeah, no, I mean, like it's about like, specializing, and I think it also gives the opportunity for I guess students out there as well to kind of like, find their path a little bit, and just once you sort of like, you start almost like at sport administration, sport management, right? And then you kind of like, what area do you want to go in, right? And then it gives you that opportunity to just fine tune a little bit more specifically. And I think you will see more and more of those kind of like, I guess, specifically, targeted programs to help. And I guess like in a sense, junior masters, maybe courses like these kind of solutions to fine tune your skills and knowledge, right? So whenever, if you really want to work with data like analytics in sports, like, okay, take a program or course in that. Or if you want to work more on like, different kind of sites, then you can specialize that. And that's going to help, finding that career path. And I guess in a sense, the opportunities that are suited for that choice and that person. But we have to talk a little bit about the Olympic Games, coming up in Paris, very, very soon as well, which is, they might ask like, why are we talking about that? But obviously it makes sense. So it's always, valuable to, I guess, two potential candidates that want to work for the Olympic Games in Paris to be close to where the action is happening. It's kind of like, self-explanatory in a sense, but it's a good starting point. So I guess like, how are you and the ESBS, and AMOS in a sense helping with this process to making sure that they can be close to where the action is happening?
Okay. So first of all, like I said, our students, they will be able to travel and move from one campus to another when we are planning to open for the next intake, for the 2022-23 intake. We're planning to open our brand new campus of ESBS in Madrid. And we are at the same time also opening a first year of the program in Paris, which is where the Olympic Games are going to happen. And there's a reason for this. I mean, AMOS is getting ready. And like I said, always trying to be on point. So we will open those programs. We will allow our students, AMOS, ESBS, we have this career department that is always looking for new professional experiences, for new internships, for new job positions. The career department is working 24/7 only on this aspect, okay? As part of the GSBM, they will have to do on their first year as well, there's a module who's speaking about professional experiences, meaning that every student is in a need, it's mandatory to be volunteering in at least 2 or 3 big sports events. Okay, so the AMOS group is in a partnership with ASO, which is organizing the Tour de France, Rally Dakar, and very big sports events. Okay, the SBS, they are partnered with all the companies that they are more expert. They have more expertise, of course, on the Spanish market. So for the Madrid side, with the Olympic Games coming and getting closer, I think that AMOS, with our network of lecturers that are not only academic people, but they are professionals who are working in the industry and they have their own network and they are here to help our students. I have received beautiful hints, tips from my lecturers if I wanted to integrate later, whatever in the Olympic Games, in the World Cup, in the Euro, all of those. We always had at least one lecturer who had a connection here or a connection there. And I think this is the way, at least in the last years, to succeed in the industry. The industry is growing a lot. And if you have good connections, the good people, you are situated in the site, where the Olympic Games are going to happen. If it's for one semester or the full year, it doesn't really matter. I think this network, this expertise, this lecturers, these practical cases of actually doing this is the ones that will allow our student to maybe later work. Well, I won't say maybe, because I have one student who was with me in class, which was one of the first 30 employees for the Olympic Games already 2 years ago in Paris, working closely with Tony Estanguet, which is the manager of all this operation. So it's possible, it's happening. It's something that we are looking for and very excited. I believe we will have, I hope, we will have, and I believe also we will have the opportunity to send volunteers to the Olympic Games, or maybe to the events around,
Right.
and all of those, and yeah.
Well, I mean, like it's good that you kind of like talking a little bit about the flexibility as well, in a sense, right? Because it gives people, an opportunity to like, oh, maybe I want, spend one semester there, or like, maybe a full year, of course, but like just having that flexibility. And I think especially in today's, fast-paced, life, and like with the pandemic, and like with everything going on, it's just like more and more like being able to be flexible and adaptable, not only from a student perspective, but from a program, and like from these institutions and organizations that are in the industry. It's going to be critical for attracting the right kind of talent, the right kind of students, and understanding that, okay, well, I have options. You don't just have to be in one location, and you can kind of like fine tune a little bit on where your path is taking you. And I think that's a huge upside where the industry is going.
The fact is, we are not framing them in one path that they must walk in. We offer them the opportunity to go to London, our campus in London, AMOS London, to go to Madrid, the ESBS in Madrid, maybe in Valencia next year for the second year. Who knows? We have many campuses. We have, like I said, 45 and more partners across the world, universities. So just choose, go wherever you want. So from which culture you want. I love the English Premier League, so I went to study at the UK for my second year at the AMOS London campus. If you like the Spanish culture, go and choose, of course, Madrid or Valencia. And if you want to be close to the Olympic Games, then go to Paris. It's that easy, with the AMOS program.
It's just a flight, and then you'll
1 hour 30.
Right. So we're about to sort of like wrap up here with the podcast, and I wanted to just touch a little bit upon, like, obviously we touched a little bit about like tips regarding culture with adapting to like taking exploring and being flexible. But if you wanted to like just narrow it down a little bit to like a few key tips that you have for any student out there that are looking for a sport program to start, or perhaps enhancing their career in the sport industry, like what would be kind of like your few key tips here?
I think that my biggest tip, or my biggest advice to students who wants to start working in this industry, is get out of your comfort zone and just jump on the opportunities that are given and presented to you. I mean, when I decided to leave Israel, which is a completely different culture, and go to study in Paris, I was so afraid of what's going to happen. I mean, I've never studied in Paris. I have family in Paris, but I never had many friends. So the culture of the French people, I knew it from as an observation, not as integration. I think that was a good preparation for me to be observing for many years, visiting my family who are living there, and seeing how the culture works. But really, is the most important is, I think that luck favors the braves. Okay, so once you get out of your comfort zone and you're trying new things, there's nothing bad's going to happen. And if something bad is happening, it's because it's part of a process, and it's part of something bigger than you. So you need to accept it and follow and continue walking in the way, trying to reach your dreams. I mean, everybody can fulfill their dreams if they only want it. I'm a big believer in manifesting. I'm a big believer in being positive, and positive things will happen to you. So that's, well, always stay positive, get out of your comfort zone, try, network. Like I said earlier, networking is very important. Getting experience and tips from people in the industry is very important. Read news about sports business. Always have whatever website open. Join a platform like Sporting Global, where they're offering different jobs, so you can have an idea of what kind of jobs you will have the possibility to hold later, what kind of positions. And I think this is my tip in order to succeed. At least I feel like it worked for me. So if it's not working, you can blame me. It's all right.
Well, that's awesome, Itamar. I really appreciate, you, of course, coming here, taking your time, sharing your insights and tips. And I think there's a lot of great potential, ideas and concepts and programs that a lot of, people out there that have been tuning in can listen to. And of course, if you're still with us, make sure to like the video if you haven't already, subscribe to the YouTube channel as well, and sign up for sportingglobal.com if you haven't. It's free. You can connect with Itamar. You can, support the ESBS page, the AMOS Sport Business Group page, and a lot of cool stuff happening there. Check out the job opportunities, of course, as well. And before we wrap up, Itamar, I have one challenge for you. You kind of like the challenges, I guess, in a sense.
Let's go.
Talking to be out of your comfort zone. So, as a tradition on the Sporting Global podcast, we essentially teach everyone a little bit Norwegian. So you gotta learn some Norwegian.
Amazing. I love languages. I would love to. Let's go.
Okay, so with every video we do, we always finish with "Vi snakkes," which means see you later in Norwegian. So that's what you gotta say.
Vi snakkes.
There you go. Good job. There you go. Perfect.
Thank you very much, Ole. It was a pleasure speaking to you. Thank you for hosting on Sporting Global. And I'm available on LinkedIn for everyone who wants to contact, network, ask more questions about the program on the website, whatever.
Awesome. All right. Thank you so much, Itamar. We'll talk soon. All right.